Hi there and welcome to
See my
episode
t-shirt,
1.
by the way.
What a brilliant start to season 2. What an
I
amazing,
hate myself.
amazing start to season 2.
That was
Anyway, we're back, obviously. Welcome back to episode 137 of the ADHD Adults Podcast, or season 2 as we're calling it. Unbelievable. I'm James Bryan, the man who sleeps in a coffin, surrounded by the earth, the land from where he was sired. And as usual, I'm joined by a man who can put you to sleep with 6 words or less, Dr. Alex Connor, and someone who really should know to try to sleep after taking an Ambien, Mrs. ADHD.
Oh.
Alex, hi.
Mm.
Do you see what I'm doing? Because we're doing an insomnia one.
You're pretending,
Not only do I-
you're
not only
pretending
do
to
I
be
see-
asleep.
Yes, thank you, Sam.
Fact. Not only do I Not only do I see what you're doing, I see the glee on your face while you're doing it. Sam, hi.
Hiya.
How are you both, Mrs. ADHD first?
I'm all right. I'm a bit tired and I've got acid reflux, but apart from that, I'm okay. How are you?
No, we don't do that.
No.
Alex, hi. How are you? I can't remember what I'm saying now. I'm completely thrown off. I mean, that is about as shambolic a start as we get.
It was
Anyway,
amazing. I am.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, James, Sam, and Kirsty. Oh, listener numbers, James. Well, good question. I've got a note here from the Metrics guy.
Oh.
It says, I quit. I'm fed up working with you pathetic muppets. I work my fingers to the bone for you. And what do I get? No work for bloody weeks. I'm off to work for a better podcast, which won't be hard to find. Bit awkward. Anyway, one of our listeners has sent us a letter, James.
No, one of our letters has sent us a listener.
They have definitely sent us a listener, Alex.
It's all right. We'll edit that in post. James, this is bullying in the worst place. Stop it.
Okay. So let's get this out there. For those of you that are watching on video, I'm joined by the lovely Kirsty, and this has been mandated after complaints of bullying in the workplace. But before we started recording, I said bullying in the worst place, and the glee on Alex's face was radiant.
Yeah. It is bullying in the worst place. I left that space to see what Sam would do. And
I know.
How long was it? Do you reckon,
Why are
like,
you shouting?
Is it really loud? I'll turn my thing down.
Really
No, you're not.
loud.
I think it's
Oh,
probably
now
the
you're
volume on our
shouting.
headphones.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How
it's
do I
probably
turn that
old.
down?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
God.
That's right, James. It's from a Robert from Kidderminster. It says, I mean, we went away for a month to get trained in how to do a podcast, and I think it's worked. It's from a Robert from Kidderminster. It says, I listened to your last podcast, which seems to have been weeks ago. I can't help but notice you managed to take your first break from the podcast for the whole of ADHD Awareness Month. Which genius planned that? You are like a how not to market yourself public broadcasting service, for the love of God. Thanks, Robert. You're right, of course.
It's fair enough.
Can I read a real letter out, please?
Please
Oh,
do.
is that-
James is frozen.
Am I?
No.
It looks like
The
Alex
real
is
letter is
frozen
from a
to me.
Vicky, also known as Baroness Go-Go, Emo of the North.
Hello, Baroness.
And it says, I love you guys. Please read this in the voice of Sloth from the Goonies.
Oh.
I haven't read it, and I don't know what the voice is supposed to be. What do I do?
You haven't read the Goonies. Oh, Jesus.
Even I know what the Goonies is. Even I do. And I look like Sloth.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. So somebody will have to do the voice afterwards. It says, you 3 wonderful human beings and 1 possible vampire have brought so much joy into my life. You saw me through my diagnosis 8 months ago and have been helping me ever since. I truly feel you've helped me to unmask, showing that it's okay to be me. As much as I love the podcast, which is a fuck ton amount, possibly the main reason I owe you all the massive thanks is for introducing me to the Discard and the mad squirrel rave that exists in there. I honestly feel I'm home. I have found my people, and to top it all off, to be made a greeter on there just purely made me feel amazing. Helping to welcome people to the place that's given me so much joy and new friends for life that I hope many of your listeners discover for themselves for 3 weeks until they forget It doesn't say that I added that. This was probably a little longer than I initially meant, but just hope you know that 3 failed comedians have made the most amazing and positive impact on my life. And I want to thank you for this. Love it. Thank you.
Do you want me to try sloth?
Thank you, Baroness. Go
yes,
on,
please.
Then. Hey, you guys!
That was really
Hey,
loud.
you guys! Yeah, Kirsty's got it better.
And what is it? A cartoon? What?
It's a film, very famous film from the 80s, where a bunch of children had to chase some treasure from One-Eyed Willie.
It's very
But that
good.
sounds like
Very
a very,
good.
very inappropriate film, actually.
It does,
when you
yeah.
put
Oh,
it
yeah.
that way.
One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah.
You just got that.
Internationally, James? Great question. Well, what we've done is we've hired an intern, a metrics intern, to take the job of the metrics guy because it's so easy. Well, I say job, I mean, we've got an unpaid rich kid who lives for free in London, which is what all internships are. I know his dad, great guy, banker. And the metrics intern has told us that they'd rather focus on cities instead of countries because we forgot. So as our top city in terms of listeners is London, here is a fact about London. Londoners are known for their politeness. In fact, Londoners are so polite that they will apologise to you if you accidentally bump into them. Why not
No.
try it today?
They won't though. That's not true though. I've been to London and that's not true. People don't even speak to you at all.
This bit is going to be endlessly amusing every
Yes,
episode.
we're going to put lies in about cities every week, and Sam's going
Oh.
to really struggle. If the metrics intern says it's true, Sam, then it's true, probably. I can't do a
No.
Cockney accent, James. It says to in the script, and I can't remember how to do one. Can you do
You
that?
said London in a different way.
Yeah, he did. I think it was more of a posh way. Anyway, can we move on? Because at some point we need to talk about insomnia.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
as
yeah.
usual, this rough tumble fuck without lubrication of a podcast is a tragedy in 3 parts. We choose a theme. Last time was about Christ knows what. And today we're focusing on ADHD and insomnia. The 3 parts include the Janet Street Porter of evidence, Alex the
What's wrong
psycho.
with Janet Street Porter?
She's a monster.
No offense, Alex. I don't know anything about her.
That
Then why-
pause
then
in
why
the
did-
script,
Yeah.
Sam, it actually has dots in, so you don't interrupt.
But she doesn't read it. That's the exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, who needs a script?
Sorry.
Education Monkey talking about
Hello.
insomnia, our personal reflections, and finally just the tip, apparently. So, Alex, I could actually do with a nap. Bore away.
Right then, I will. People with ADHD typically struggle with maintaining structure and routine and generally regulating their behavior and daytime activities. And these difficulties seem to persist into the nighttime as ADHD affects our diurnal rhythm. ADHD has been associated with loads of sleep problems, and insomnia probably one of the most, if not the most commonly reported comorbid condition.
Immediately, right from the start, gone into doing ADHD instead of talking about sleep and allowing me to do my bit where I interject. What about ADHD, Alex?
Good. It's a terrible bit you do. What about ADHD? Nobody liked that bit, James. Insomnia actually has a specific definition, as opposed to James writing and crying, "Oh, I can't sleep," and then playing with it, leaving his light on and playing on his phone. And that definition is this: it's difficulty in getting to sleep, difficulty maintaining sleep, early wakening, I like that, or non-restorative sleep, which occurs despite adequate opportunity for sleep and results in impaired daytime functioning, or Tuesday, as James calls it. On top of that, it can be acute, that's short-term, or chronic, long-term, or both. Obviously, not just an ADHD problem. Insomnia is one of the most frequent health concerns in the general population, affecting between 6 and 15% of the adult population.
We get it more though, don't we?
It's an excellent question, Sam. You're back in the game. Yes. Short answer.
Oh,
If that's a short
thought
answer,
so.
can we leave it? Yeah, can we leave it there then and just move on to part 2?
Gosh. The marginally longer answer is yes, but, and it's a big but, James, most studies looking at the relationship between insomnia and ADHD have looked obviously in children and adolescents. And the tiny number that look in adult ADHD have given conflicting results. One study said that more than half of adults with probable ADHD were also fulfilled the criteria for insomnia. Another said that sleep was problematic regardless of age, ADHD subtype, and gender. Going further, 3 studies using self-reports, which are shit, have shown an increased prevalence of insomnia in adult ADHD. But when polysomnography, sleep studies where you kind of attach to sensors, were used to objectively measure sleep, then 3 studies found decreased sleep quality and insomnia in adults with ADHD. One showed sleep disturbance, but another didn't, because science sometimes disagrees with itself.
What about stimulant medication? Does that make it worse? It doesn't for me, but I would imagine it does for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically speed, so it should
Well,
with
no,
everyone, and
where's
doesn't.
off?
It's another great question, Sam. James, perhaps just take some notes on how to
He
ask a
wrote
question.
it for me. He wrote my
Now
question.
that ruins the illusion. What we're doing is an illusion, you see.
Oh,
The answer depends, but it would be a lie, wouldn't it? The answer depends on what you're taking and who you are. With slime reports, James,
slime.
finding that methylphenidate improves sleep.
Oh,
Slime reports
God.
are what James writes when he means some reports, when he's filling in for the script intern.
Yeah.
So
That's
methylphenidate sometimes improves sleep, but a review by the brilliant Professor Sandra Coy found that insomnia is a treatment-related adverse effect in amphetamine salts in nearly half of people.
What does treatment related
Lisdexamphetamine
mean?
in 10 to 20. It means that the speed one, Lisdex, can affect sleep in almost half of us. Annoyingly, like you, Sam, speed helps me sleep, which I've never quite figured. But that's a funny thing, isn't it? Extended release methylphenidate was found as well to affect sleep in 10% of people, and 10 to 17% of people on atomoxetine were also found to have insomnia related to their condition, to their medication. Sorry.
Why though, Captain Science, with all the information? Why?
Well, James, many of us, up to 80% of us, have a delayed sleep cycle. I don't, so I feel like a fraud who hasn't really got it. So where the
Right.
sleep hormone, melatonin, is released later in the evening, much later in some cases, than in non-ADHD normos. And it's possible that perhaps, maybe, sort of, ADHD and sleep problems are very comorbid disorders which also interact with each other, called synergy. When ADHD is present, insomnia often occurs, and vice versa, with something called reciprocal causation. And just for James, that's ADHD causes poor sleep, and poor sleep may cause ADHD symptoms. See?
Oh yeah.
I'd like to. Honestly, I'd like to. I mean, I wouldn't say that I've missed this,
Have I
but I
frozen?
haven't.
No, you have.
And on that note, we'll take a break and we'll be back in part 2. See you in a bit.
Alex, hi. Aight. What's up? Hello, Governor.
Welcome back to episode 137 of the ADHD Adults
Season
Podcast.
2.
Season 2. This is part 2 where we're talking about personal reflections on insomnia. James, do you have any personal reflections on this?
Don't think so.
I mean, again, you'd like to think after a month off that there'd be an element of kind of wanting to get back into this, but immediately I'm taken back to that place of fucking hating every second of it.
Hello.
Now, luckily for me, let's say luckily, one of the many health conditions I have is ghost fucking, or periodic limb movement disorder, where I spasm during the night in an embarrassingly kind of romantic with an invisible person way, like Sam's doing now if you're watching on the video. And what that means is that I am given a benzodiazepine called clonazepam, which is a hypnotic. So it kind of makes me sleep. It's an unhealthy way to make yourself sleep, particularly when you've been taking it for 15 years. But that means most of the time I sleep well. But even on clonazepam, which is a relatively powerful hypnotic, there's a lot of times where I'll go through a period, as I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where I think I slept 3 nights out of 14, and fucking hell, it makes everything worse. All of the symptoms, all of the executive functions just fall to pieces. My focus is reduced down to seconds. My ability to think and make decisions is completely gone. My anxiety is massively heightened. So just not being able to sleep, even for 1 or 2 nights, for me, just makes me even less of a functional kind of person, and just completely useless, to be fair. Sam, what about you?
I was saying recently to Jack, actually, that I'm really lucky because I've never been able to sleep. So because I'm so
That does
used
sound
to it,
lucky.
no, that's what Jack said. He went, "Oh, so lucky, hashtag blessed. I've never been able to
Horny
sleep."
twat.
But what that means is I can cope with little or no sleep. You know, I had 2 hours last night, I'm fine. If I have absolutely no sleep at all, I'm fine. I don't
This is why you
really need
texted me at
sleep.
2 o'clock in the morning, isn't it?
Yes, it was. I was
And do you know what she texted, James? Are we recording early in the morning? Yes, but I'll be tired because you just...
Who has their phone? Who doesn't have their phone on silent all the fucking time, you psychopath?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Not
true.
my
Yeah.
fault, is it? Anyway, I can cope with little or no sleep because I'm so used to not sleeping. So that's really a blessing for me because I do not sleep well. But if I haven't slept for 3 nights in a row, then I take one of James's tablets, which I know I really shouldn't, because that's when everything turns to shit and all of my sensory issues, everything just affects me so much more, and I just can't cope with life in general. Alex, what about you?
Well, I'm lucky because I have an alcohol use disorder.
Are you drinking again?
No, but I'll always have it, Sam.
No.
I
Okay.
will never drink again, ever.
Oh, and that affects your sleep because you're not drinking.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Oh no.
Yeah, in a good way.
Oh,
Because alcohol is a sedative, not a sleep inducer. So you go to sleep more quickly, but you don't fully go into REM. And so you don't, even though you can sleep for 11 hours pissed, you're actually not doing the anti-toxicity and the memory laying down and all those things that we need sleep for, because it's sedative rather than sleep inducing. They're not the same thing. Incidentally, there's a little bit of evidence that might be true of clonazepam in a way as well. So some of the reasons that clonazepam knocks you out but doesn't help you as much is because it might, and I stress might, be having more of a sedative effect than an actual sleep effect, and they're not the same. But since I stopped drinking, it took a while because everything's pushed back an hour, so I go to bed an hour later, but their sleep is just unbelievably better. But it's such a wanker klaxon thing to say, isn't it? That klaxon.
yeah, good for you.
There's a chance. There's just a slim chance, guys, that I haven't plugged my laptop in and it's about to turn off, and all of
Plug
this.
it in now.
Well, okay, but you carry on talking while Kirsty and I try and
I
I
find.
just plugged my laptop in, James, because it said low battery warning. Exactly the same.
I took, and people that watch ADHD Towers will know this. I took I think they call it Ambien, Zopiclone recently. And if I don't go to sleep immediately, I go mental and no recollection of it at all. And
That
I took
explains the
some,
intro.
carried on working, and then James just came down and I was in the car doing some stuff, and then I'm rolling around because I said that I could only get upstairs by rolling, doing round robins. He just couldn't get me up to bed at all, and I have no recollection of that at all.
Well,
But we do
I
have-
definitely haven't. I definitely wasn't sent a video of it by James.
Were you?
That was the gentle video where she was saying, "Look, I can do round robins. I can do round robins," and rolling on the floor. That wasn't the 45-minute long video where she was aggressively dry humping me on the sofa, saying, "Oh, go on, I can coax him out of his parchment. I'll coax him out of his box."
Wow, coughing. It's called the
You
coughing.
can just hear me saying,
I was off
"Get
meds.
off, please get off."
Thanks, Sam. It's rare that you ever think I'm funny. I was off meds for 10 days recently because I had COVID and something else. And firstly, 10 days buffer. So I've got 10 extra days in the little pot. It's the best feeling ever.
Show off.
But it was all, I know, but it was awful. And when I went back on the first day, I didn't sleep for 36 hours on my meds, which normally I sleep really well on. And then the next, after that, it was back to normal. But if you've tried ADHD meds and then you didn't sleep, and oh God, that's made me panic. I was really shocked. It's because normally, in the old days, I used to drink, so I would knock myself out. But now I don't. It caused massive insomnia once, and then that went away for the rest of the days. Because what's always shocked me is that speed helps me sleep, and so it was quite destabilizing. And it was just lying there being awake, how you always describe it, both of you, when you describe insomnia to me, because you both have all the things. And it was actually uncomfortable because you almost cross with yourself, which is really stupid because it's biology, but you go, come on, you'll be rubbish tomorrow. And it was very uncomfortable. I did not care for it.
Yes.
Tightly a sex tape. Anyway,
we got rid of so season 2. We don't have the game. Am I correct?
No. I was about to say different season, same game. Unfortunately for you, Alex. So as usual, you've got 3 options. So recently, I lost some medication. Very recently, in fact, and you've got 3 options as to how or where I lost them. The first is that whilst filming for ADHD Towers about how I'd managed to get medication, and I was throwing them onto the passenger seat, I threw one pack too far down the side of the passenger seat and couldn't find them for quite some time. So did I throw them down the side of the passenger seat of the car? 2, did I throw them in the bin while I was emptying out all of my many, many medications into my timer caps? We're sponsored by timer caps.
Big timer.
Yeah. Or C, was I not given any because I hadn't ordered them and I didn't realize this?
Ooh, interesting. Now, if this was an A-level German question, it's
not.
There's 2 of them have the word throw in, so it'd be one of them. That's how I used to do them.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was
2 that were
nobody knew
very
anything.
similar.
So I don't think you threw them across your car because you're not organised enough to have your meds in the car. They're where they always are, or they're gone forever. I also don't think you threw them in the bin because you can't throw. So I don't think you were given any because you forgot to order them. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, it's a good one. You're right.
Yeah. I just
1-0. 1-0. I think we can say fairly that I won season 1, but you 1-0 up for season 2.
I definitely won season 1. That's laughable.
Did you fuck? As like there were like months on end where you didn't win.
What? I feel like he did win.
Oh, don't.
That's
Kirsty?
enough for me. We
I
should
feel
do all sports based on feelings of who won.
I'm being bullied.
Bully alarm. Just before we finish, Kirsty, what about your sleep issues? As we have a guest here.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Hi,
idea.
Kirsty.
Well, my sleep is shit, and mostly because I'm in bed like for so long, but actually I recognize that I'm not actually sleeping. I close my eyes like, no, pray that I'm not going to wake up. Like if I look at my clock and it says 4:30, I'm like, well, that's still midnight. And 6:30, I'm like, no, I can still get another half an hour. I don't know why. But yeah, I think I repeat a day because I'm constantly like dreaming and thinking about conversations with people that actually haven't happened. So I'm always exhausted. So yeah, but that's only something I've recognized recently.
Actually, last night, first of all, I was editing until like, I don't know, 2:30 or something. And then at 5:30, I woke up and thought, shit, I should be up now. And then realised I didn't have to be up until 6:30, but I'd panicked myself awake by that point. So I just had to get up. Yeah.
It's a healthy approach.
It is a healthy approach.
Right. Well, using that healthy approach, we'll take a break and we'll be back for just a tip in a bit.
All right. Bye.
No. Welcome back to episode 137 of the ADHD Adults Podcast Season 2, sort of, I guess. As always, part 3 is just the tip, where we give our top tips. Well, I do, and James says something that's useless, and Sam doesn't know what's happening, but we'll give it a go. Right, start with you, Sam. What's your top tip? And this is important because it's the first one of Season 2. Top tip for insomnia. Hit us.
You fucking bastard. Before we came back on, I went, I haven't got any tips for this. I don't know what to say. So you did that on purpose. I don't have any tips. What I do when it's not successful, obviously, because I'm barely asleep, is I have to play a game on my phone, and it can't be too easy, otherwise my brain's not interested enough in it and it will wander, because I've got to stop my brain wandering, you see. But if it's too good a game, I'll literally just play that game all night. So it's just got to be that sweet spot where it's a little bit interesting but not too interesting, so that my brain starts to focus on it a little bit and starts to go to sleep. And then I think, I feel a bit tired, I'll put that down and then go to sleep. Doesn't work. What about you, Alex?
Well, one thing is absolutely no phones. It's genuinely one of the
I have to.
five.
I have to.
You have to, and it doesn't work. Just to be clear, let's logistically, it doesn't
I've
work.
got to occupy my brain somehow.
Yeah, so funnily enough, a load of people, I haven't tried this myself, but loads of people with ADHD talk about how they use brown noise, which sounds filthy to me. But I've so which is like white noise, but more
I
positive.
know, I've tried all the noises.
You do, yeah. If you're using your phone, you are going to fall asleep when you're unconscious rather than naturally falling asleep, purely because of the light. It doesn't need to be blue to keep you awake, because any photons affect melatonin production. Light is a killer. These are boring top tips because they're, scientific.
And they're ones I don't want to do.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Alcohol isn't your friend.
Wanna do
Caffeine
any
isn't
of
your
that.
friend if you have more than one. Any light, darkness, any if you're too hot, that's not a great thing.
What about
either.
red light? Somebody told me red light can help you to sleep.
So red light is less of a problem, certainly, because we don't have many cones for that, I think, is the answer.
I used to love dark rooms. With the red
so
light.
did I.
Oh
yeah, I did. I like the
smell of the chemicals.
doors. Do you remember the revolving doors that you go in them? Because
no, I just had one in my garage with my dad, because my dad's like me, and that was his special interest for quite a while. So no, I don't know what an actual dark room is. It was just our garage, and we made one in there, and we used to develop photos together. And I love the smell of the chemicals.
If you don't have a special interest, do they just give you trains? Is that how it works?
Trains?
Yeah, because loads of people like trains.
Default.
Yeah. or like Second World War history.
Are we at any point? Are we going to finish off talking about sleep?
Yeah.
What's your top tips, James the Insomniac? This should be good, worth listening to. Is it nobody go to sleep in the night time, because that's when the sun goes down and we can all walk around?
No, listen, that is offensive to my culture, Alex.
Yeah.
And I would appreciate it if you
the living impaired.
Yes, the living impaired in the future.
Sorry.
That's weird, isn't it? What I would say is, first of all, obviously don't edit ADHD towers for hours in bed. Because
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing actually kind of passively engaging with the screen, but another thing actively having to make decisions about cutting out bits and putting
that doesn't help me.
It doesn't help, does it? Alex was covering stuff on sleep hygiene, which is something we have to do. It's often about routine. And one of the issues is that if we have sleep issues, we often associate our bed as being a place we don't sleep, and that gives us sleep anxiety. So getting into a routine that has to be, and it's difficult with ADHD, as regimented as possible. So no alcohol, no caffeine, no meals, no exercise for a couple of hours before you go to bed. Don't have too long an afternoon nap. For example, if you do nap in the afternoon, try not to have more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Make sure that the bedroom is only used for two things, and one of them is sleep. In Alex's case, I can't say what the other one is. Interestingly, use something called, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes a 30-minute rule, and that is if you try to go to sleep, yes, Alex, wanking. If you try to go to sleep and after 20 or 30 minutes you're not asleep, get out of bed. Because otherwise you'll lie there tossing and turning and thinking, oh God, I can't sleep. Get out, do something restful like reading a book, but not a book that's too engaging, not a page turner, until you feel tired, and then get into bed. And in the morning, equally, if you wake up and it's 4 or 4:30 and you can't get back to sleep after 20 or 30 minutes, get out of bed.
Get up.
Because you need to associate the bed as somewhere that you sleep, not somewhere that you don't. And the last thing I think that's worth saying, shut up, Alex. The last thing that's worth saying is that one of the reasons many of us struggle to sleep is racing thoughts. Is because the second our head hits the pillow, it's just a flow of non-stop thoughts, which we can't turn off, and that stops us from sleeping. There are a few things that can help with this, like journaling, writing down the things that you're thinking about. If it's future plans, for example, if it's conversations that you've had, write it down. Try and get it out of your head and onto paper. And in some cases, that can help stop those racing thoughts. Alex,
I really like that. So on those thoughts you've written down, if you tell yourself you're allowed to worry about them, but tomorrow choose a time when you're free, you might find that tomorrow you don't need to, and just having them down, especially because we don't remember stuff.
Sometimes I used to have a notepad, but now I use my phone, so I use my notes on my phone. Whatever thoughts I've got in my head that I'm worrying about, I write them down, because then I think, okay, you can stop worrying about those now. You've written them down, so you can worry about them tomorrow. It doesn't work.
Well, I was about to say, just to clarify, you don't sleep.
None of these
and you're using a phone, and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Go back to the piece of paper. Can I tell you one dead quick bit of science that'll baffle Sam? Almost certainly.
Go on.
They gave some insomniacs a pill that they told them would keep them awake, and it helped them sleep.
Yes. Well, Viktor Frankl, he uses this. So he will tell people, your task for tonight is to stay awake all night, and they fall asleep.
It's the guilt.
And there's a name for it. Anyway, I fucking love him. But I wanted to colour my blackboard. I wanted blackboard walls, so that in the night, if I woke up, I could just write with chalk on the wall.
But all work and no play makes Sam a dull girl.
She legitimately, genuinely said, "Can we have blackboard walls in the bedroom?" And then wanted pegboard walls in the bedroom. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I'm going to wrap this up because it's just annoying to me.
Yeah.
That was apparently the first episode of season 2, but ultimately episode 137 of the ADHD Adults Podcast, where we talked about ADHD and insomnia in the presence of a mediator because of complaints of bullying in the workplace. The lovely Kirsty. If by a miracle you enjoyed this podcast, then you can find more content by subscribing on Patreon, or you can visit the website ADHDadults.uk to find out more and to get in touch if you want to. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye all.
Trigger warning, klaxon, 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 big klaxon.